The sound of paper tearing echoed through the silent bank. Every head turned. Amara stood frozen at the counter, her fingers trembling as she stared at the shredded pieces of her paycheck in the bank manager's hand. "I told you," he said sharply, his voice cutting through the air. "We don't accept fraudulent checks here. Next time, don't waste my time." His nameplate read Mr. Douglas Pierce, branch manager. His suit was neatly pressed, his smile practiced. But right now, his eyes were cold and dismissive. Amara's voice quivered. "Sir, that's not fake. I just got paid. Please, look again." "I said enough." He waved her off like she was a child, interrupting him. "Security, please escort this woman out." The few customers nearby exchanged uncomfortable looks. A young teller shifted nervously but said nothing. Amara clutched her bag, her face burning with shame. "I just wanted to deposit my first check," she whispered. "I worked hard for this." Mr. Pierce sneered. "You expect me to believe you earn this much? Maybe try not walking in here dressed like." He stopped himself, but his tone finished the sentence for him. The guard stepped closer. Amara blinked back tears, her voice cracking. "You had no right to rip it." He smirked. "I had every right to protect this bank from scams. Now leave, before I call the police." That word police made her chest tighten. She turned, clutching her torn check, trying not to cry as she hurried toward the door. Outside, Amara stood on the steps, her hands shaking. The check had been her first payment from a design internship, a small but proud step. She had dreamed of calling her mom to celebrate. Instead, humiliation choked her. She took a deep breath and called her mother anyway. "Mom." He tore it up. "The manager. He said it was fake. He made everyone stare at me like I was." Her voice broke. "Stay there," her mother said calmly, though her tone carried a quiet storm. "Don't move." 10 minutes later, a sleek black car pulled into the parking lot. The door opened, and out stepped Carmen Lewis, Amara's mother. She was tall, composed, and dressed in a charcoal gray suit that looked like it had been made for power. The kind of presence that turned silence into attention. Every step she took into the bank seemed to echo. The receptionist straightened immediately. "Good afternoon, ma'am. Do you have an appointment?" "No," Carmen replied evenly, her gaze firm. "But your branch manager just tore up my daughter's paycheck. I believe we need to talk." The tone made the receptionist's throat tighten. "Our Mr. Pierce is in his office." "Perfect." Without waiting, Carmen walked past the counter, heels clicking against the marble floor. Amara followed behind, wiping her eyes, her face still red. When Douglas Pierce looked up and saw them, he forced a smile. "I already explained to your daughter." "No, you didn't," Carmen interrupted, her voice calm but heavy with restrained fury. "You humiliated her in front of strangers, tore up her check, and called security." "Why?" He cleared his throat. "Ma'am, we follow procedure. That check didn't look legitimate." "Didn't look legitimate," she repeated softly, "because the name didn't fit the face." He hesitated. "That's not what I meant." "Then what did you mean, Mr. Pierce?" Her gaze sharpened. "My daughter's name is Amara Lewis. She just completed her internship at Lewis's Innovations Group. Her check was issued by me." His face went pale. Carmen opened her purse, took out a business card, and placed it on his desk. The gold letters gleamed. "Carmen Lewis, Chief Executive Officer, Lewis Innovations Group. I sign every employee check myself," she said, "including the one you tore apart." The room fell silent. Amara stood beside her mother, her chin lifted now, though her hands still trembled. Mr. Pierce stammered. This must be a misunderstanding." "No," Carmen said quietly. "It's a lesson." She gestured toward her daughter. "This young woman came in here with respect. You treated her like a criminal because you saw her skin before you saw her name." The color drained from his face. "Mrs. Lewis, please, I'm not here for an apology," she said, standing tall. "I'm here so you remember what it feels like when your assumptions tear something apart. My daughter's check can be reissued. Her dignity cannot." Customers had begun watching from the lobby. The young teller who had stayed silent earlier looked on, guilt flickering in her eyes. Carmen turned to her daughter. "Amara, we're done here." They walked out, but before reaching the door, Carmen paused and glanced back. "You should be grateful, Mr. Pierce," she said softly, "because some people would make sure you never worked in this business again. I prefer you learn from this instead." Then she left, her daughter at her side, and the door swung shut behind them. Outside, the afternoon light was warm and golden. Amara finally exhaled. "Mom, you didn't have to come all the way here." "Yes, I did," Carmen said, placing a hand on her shoulder. "One day, you'll walk into rooms where people won't see your worth right away. Don't ever let them decide it for you." Amara's eyes softened. "You always know what to say." "I don't," Carmen replied, "but I know what to do when." Someone tries to make my daughter small. They smiled faintly at each other. Before getting into the car, back inside the bank, Mr. Pierce sat at his desk, staring at the gold embossed card. His reflection in the window looked smaller somehow. He could still hear his own words. "You expect me to believe you earned this much?" His stomach turned. He picked up the phone and called the front desk. "Get Ms. Lewis back on the line," he said quietly. "I owe her a personal apology." The receptionist hesitated. "She's already gone, sir." He hung up slowly, leaned back in his chair, and rubbed his temples. For the first time, he saw how he had looked through someone else's eyes. Arrogant, blind, small. He reached for a fresh sheet of paper and began writing a note. "To Miss Amara Lewis, I'm deeply sorry for how I treated you today. I acted without respect, and that is something I'll live to correct. You taught me more in 10 minutes than I've learned in 10 years at this job." When he finished, he folded the note and stared at the torn pieces of the old check still lying in the bin. Slowly, he picked them up one by one and placed them neatly on his desk. The next morning, when Amara checked her mailbox, there was a letter waiting for her with the bank's logo. Inside was a new check, double the original amount, and a handwritten note. She smiled faintly, folded it carefully, and tucked it into her sketchbook. Her mother walked by and asked, "Something good?" Amara nodded. "Something right. Respect is the currency that never loses value. No title, no suit, and no power makes anyone greater than another human being."